guys, welcome back to Day-Today Chess. This is Sabina. I was getting ready this morning to tell you that we have a new World Cup winner. Unfortunately, instead of that, I saw another result, and I also suddenly got a bad cold. You might hear it from my voice, but that's alright, because we really enjoy seeing games, and hopefully you enjoy my comments, so we'll go on for the next day. Hopefully, Svidler will show his superiority in the next game and will be able to control his emotions. What to say? To those people who are Sergey Karjakin fans. I like Sergey Karjakin as well. In this match, I feel that Peter Svidler throughout the tournament has shown a great fighting spirit, a great understanding of chess, and he had definitely the tournament of his life. So I hope that he's going to win this World Cup for him, for what he is, for all the work that he has probably put before playing this tournament, and that's it. That's all I want to say. The reason I like him so much is that for example, this game, he only needed a draw to go on to the next level. But did he just play for a draw? No, and you're going to see what he did, how he played, and what happened. He didn't play for a draw. He always has this fighting spirit on, which is not the same that I could say about Sergey Karjakin in this tournament. I've noticed he made many fast draws and then showed his superiority because he's younger. And the more you play, the people who are older maybe would get more tired if they don't have a good physical condition, so that would be a plus for Karjakin. But anyways, those are my reasons. I hope you understand them, and you keep following me despite me being true to you and telling you what my feelings are, and if you don't like them, I hope you still follow me. Okay, let's see what happened today. So Svidler took here with the queen. Probably everybody was surprised by this move. I know I was a little bit. I mean, you normally expect knight takes d4. Queen d4 is not played that often, yet, you can still play it, and it normally would lead to some Maruti position, which in fact happened in this game. c4, this is the Maruti, right? We saw some other games in this type of structure. Knight f6, and now we go queen to e3 to keep the b6 square controlled, also keep the e4 pawn defended, and of course you don't want to put the queen in d2 because this bishop needs to get out, and you don't want to go back since you already took the queen out, so the queen normally goes to e3. Knight f6, now against any knight g4 or bishop g4 stuff, we are just playing h3, preventive. g6, knight c3, bishop g7, bishop e2. Okay, we have the Maruti position. And here the most natural move that everybody's familiar with is castle. And then black's plan goes with bishop d7 or bishop e6. Then the queen goes to a5. That's one of the plans. Rook c8 and then try to play b5. And notice rook f to c8 because the queen should go back to d8. So you want to make sure your rook is out. That's one of the plans that I know in this Maruti with black. But there are certainly many others, including this one that Karjakin played, knight d7. Now the idea of this knight d7 is to play f5 earlier than you would normally play it. Normally black in this Maruti type of position is waiting for white to castle, get this knight out of the way, play f4, getting ready to play f5, and only then black responds with f5. Whereas in this particular variation, with the knight in d7, you just want to play it much faster, and the idea is not to stop white from starting the attack, but to start the attack yourself. So that's the deal there. The knight has been moved already one time, but it's definitely necessary to move it again to prepare f5. And rook b1. Another typical move for the Maruti type of positions, because this bishop in g7 gets very, very strong on the diagonal. So we are getting the rook out so that eventually we'll be able to play b3 or b4 without remaining pinned, without this knight remain pinned on c3. Knight d5, okay. Black doesn't have that much space, so if he can trade some pieces off the board, it would be really great for him, and that's what he's trying to do with the knight in e5. Castle. No castle, of course. Okay. Both of them almost finished their development. Black still has the queen and the bishop, and white still has this bishop, and okay, figure out what to do with this rook. Now this bishop, it's not clear where we want to put it, so we hold on to it in c1 for the moment. With this queen in e3, it's kind of hard to develop it very far, and d2 would just be closing the file. So that's why, in this position, Svidler played rook d1. Remember, I always am mentioning in as many videos as I can where I encounter this idea, having a rook on the same file as the queen is really great because you are creating all kind of stuff like c5 type of ideas, or maybe some stopping also d5 from black side eventually at some point. And it's very annoying to have a rook on the same file as the opponent's queen. Now black captured in f3, bishop takes f3, f5. As I mentioned to you, that's the idea. Now, black wants to open up the f file, okay, and in the same time give some play to his bishop, because eventually these two pawns are going to be traded off, and the bishop will have the f5 square to be developed on, which is exactly what happened here. Why capture in f5? What to do if you don't capture? I'm going to capture, or I'm going to play f4. I have these two choices, so you might as well just take and open up your bishop from f3 as well. Make sure you're doing something with the bishop too. Bishop takes f5. Now your rook is being attacked, so what to do? If you play rook a1, well, you just came from there. What's the point, right? I mean, you're just losing one move. So bishop e4. Trading some pieces is fine in this position, and why do I have all these, the arrow and this e6 square highlighted? Why do you think? Well, because I was thinking to tell you that in case black captures in e4, white is going to capture back with the knight, and then the knight from e4 has this nice way of coming towards e6, which is a weak spot in black's position after he has played f5. So it could be a potential outpost for our knight. That's why I had the arrows. Not completed. Okay, so this is good. This is good for white. So a very nice position. Now queen d7. Black, of course, doesn't hurry to take to help you bring the knight to e6. Now queen d7. And now a very beautiful move and very typical for Maruti type of positions. Knight d5. And what's so typical about this and what is it similar to? Well, you might remember I've shown you games with an isolated pawn in d4. When you have an isolated pawn in d4, that pawn controls both c5 and e5 squares and normally helps, create two outposts there for your knight. Normally e5. Rarely you see both on both squares. Normally you see it on e5. Now, similarly, in this type of position, the Maruti, the d5 square is great for the knight because first you're coming towards b6, creating some threats there. You are attacking e7. Well, this is not a big deal. Mostly the b6 and c7 squares. And if at some point black is going to play e6, he's going to weaken d6. So eventually he will have to play e6 to chase your knight away from there, and then you've created a weakness involuntarily, let's say, in d6. So that's the big plus from playing the Maruti for white. Now black, of course, he has this f-file, he has the diagonal. Let's see what he did. Queen e6. Okay, black is trying to force white to make the trade, so he can capture back with the queen and start putting pressure in f2. Because now that the f-file is open, we must do something with black. And of course, knight to c7 is not possible at this moment because just simply queen takes e4, attacking the rook. In case of the trade, bishop takes, and then I'm going to take the rook and you're losing material. So white is not ready to play knight to c7. He needs to do something about the bishop in e4, and he did. He captured in f5. Now queen takes f5. Of course, as I mentioned, f2 is a weakness. The bishop gets ready to come to d4 at some point and put pressure in f2. Okay, but directly, maybe he can't do it directly. Also, let's not forget, the rook in b1 is being attacked. Tricky. This queen takes f5, right? So we need to do something about that rook too. So, well, this is very simple. We needed to develop this bishop from c1 anyways. It was there for really a long time, 17 moves, right? It's time to get the bishop out, and of course we'll want to eventually play bishop to c3. But for the moment we just defended our rook. Okay, now rook a to e8. Why can't black just play bishop to d4, attacking the queen and the pawn? Well, pause the video if you want. This knight in c6 is overcharged, defending the bishop, but at the same time defending e7. So, if you play bishop d4, I'm going to take in e7, and it's check queen, and when you take back, well, I take your bishop, so you're just losing a pawn. That's why black cannot play bishop d4 immediately. He needs to prepare it, and that's what he did with rook e8. Now the pawn is protected. Now I'm threatening bishop d4 because you can't capture in e7 because rook takes. Bishop c3. Now we're trying to trade some pieces, and at the same time we have these ideas with knight c7, e6 at some point. As I mentioned to you, e6 is a weak spot in black's position after playing f5. So in here, black played e6. So we managed to achieve what we wanted to with the knight in d5. It's been so annoying there that black was forced to play e6, and now the d6 pawn is weak. Knight b6. Okay, opening up the rook as well. d5. Black needs to do something about this pawn, otherwise he's going to lose it on a la longue, you know, he's gonna lose it. So he needs to get rid of it. d5. Now bishop takes g7, king takes g7. Queen c5. Oops, I'm sorry. That went really fast. Queen c5. Now, white couldn't capture in d5 because pawn takes and your queen is pinned. Now, this rook in e8, you see that it's doing the same that the rook in d1 did. It's just staying on the same file as the queen and doesn't allow the capture. So queen c5. Now we're getting ready to threaten to take in d5. Rook f6. And here black gets ready to triple on the f file and try to create some attacks in f2. So b4, white is starting his attack on the queen side. Maybe white could have taken in d5, but the thing is, you don't want to open up the position and give black activity with rook e2. Okay, so that is the reason why white didn't take in d5. Okay, b4, knight e5, coming towards d3, f2. She takes d5, knight d3. And black is trying to get some counterplay. What to do in this position? He's just lost a pawn, right? So he's coming towards f2, and okay, the queen double attack. Now queen e3, and surprisingly, Karjakin played this move again, like in the first round of their match. He sacrificed in f7 that time, and eventually lost the game. Here he's taking in f2 after rook f1. This knight has no exit. Well, no exit. He has exits, but he's pinned, so he's going to be lost. Black's only chance to escape with the knight is queen e4, and now computer finds rook f to e1 winning. And I'm gonna show you why rook f to e1 and not b to e1 like Svidler played. Because now, after takes, rook takes, queen takes e4, there's no rook in f1, so black can't take in f1 intermediate. In the game, after rook b to e1 takes, here, if we were to take queen takes f2, just simply rook takes. After take, rook takes f1, check, and then black is going to be the one playing for a win. So you have to be very careful. In this position, queen c3 had to be played. And I'm surprised that Svidler didn't see it. It's just winning material on this file. It's not that much to do with black here. But he blundered rook f2, queen h4, and here again he had to just take in e8. Okay, and go for this variation. He has a pawn down, but now there's rook e7 here. This king there must be something against this king. Maybe rook d7 now, trying to get the pawn back. This should be draw. But Svidler blundered here. He played queen d2, probably missing this move, rook takes f2, because you can't take queen takes because of this simple rook takes e1, and the queen defends the rook in e1, so you're just losing material. And he played rook queen to c3, and after d4 there's nothing to do, because in case queen c7 check, there's rook f7 attacking the queen, and this rook is hanging. and in this position Svidler resigned.